I've mentioned in other videos how this year I really wanted to focus on my brush work and just get better with a brush. I do a lot of pen work and, some of them are brush pens, but it's not the same as using brush and paint. So today I thought I'd show you some of my practicing, plus share with you 5 tips on how to practice your art. And these are things that I try to do myself to improve whatever it is that I'm trying to improve. So I thought maybe if I shared them with you, it might help you as well. So for this practice piece today, I'm going to use some gouache paints, and I'm using some of my pattern practice that you might have seen over on my Instagram feed. But rather than draw it out with pens, I'm just going to paint it out. And it's all pretty random. I haven't got anything in my head, not working to any sort of plan. Probably the most I planned was the colours. So let's get straight on in with tip number 1. Which is scheduling in time for daily practice. This is probably the most important one, but it's also one of the hardest. Well, at least I find this very hard. There's always going to be something that will be more important, or you'll think it's more important. But in the long run and the long term, practicing your art daily is going to be really important if you want to improve. So you really do need to put some time aside in your schedule and stick to it. So it's a case of prioritising your art practice. And for this, I'm kind of talking generally, it's any kind of art practice that you do. So if you're a card maker and you want to improve your card making, prioritise some time in your day to work on it. If you're a mixed media artist, the same thing, or if you want to improve your drawing, whatever it is, schedule in that time and turn up and do it. So maybe you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, Kim, you kind of do this all day, every day. This is your job. So you're practicing it all the time. How come it's so difficult for you to schedule the time in to do this? And that's the thing, for me, it is my job. And I have various deadlines, I have commissions, I have things that I need to get done, just like everyone else. And, my workflow, there's only so many hours in the day. But I have a list that's probably about a mile long of things that I want to improve and get better at. And you do generally improve your skill just by doing. So even if you're not doing the thing that you're trying to improve, there's kind of like a transferable skills element to artwork. You can generally improve a whole range of different skills and techniques in art just by doing art. And you'll be quite surprised at how well you're able to do something different that maybe you haven't done before. So generally working on your art or working on art will help you improve. But we all have things that are quite specific that we know we need to improve and get better at. And that brings me on to point number 2, which is focus. So if, like me, you've got a big old list of things that you would like to get better at, to stop you from getting overwhelmed by it and ending up not doing anything at all, pick one thing from your list and focus on that in your scheduled practice time. Now, this in itself might be a little bit overwhelming, so what I would suggest, if you do find it hard to focus on one thing, whittle your list down to 3 to 5 things that you really want to achieve this year and improve and get better at, and then pick one of those from that list. So you're just breaking it down into smaller chunks and prioritising the thing that's really important to you. And as I'm sure you probably already know, and you've heard it before, but breaking up your big projects into smaller chunks is just a lot easier way of approaching it, and it's the same in life as it is in art. And it's one I have to keep reminding myself again and again. So for instance, if you've got something like master watercolour on your list, well, that's great, but it's probably a little bit too big and a little bit too broad. So break it up into something smaller, maybe like how to do a flat wash or improve your watercolouring of flowers, for instance. So once you have your scheduled time and you've got the thing that you want to focus on, the next thing is tip number 3, and that's repeat. So whatever it is that you're wanting to do, whether it be how to blend ink properly, to how to draw people, whatever it is, more often than not, you're probably going to have to repeat it and do it over and over again. So if you do it once and it works really well, don't think, oh, well, that's it, I've done it. Turn up the next day and practice it again. And keep on practicing it until it basically starts being programmed in as a kind of muscle memory. So you no longer have to think about the mechanics of doing it, you can just do it. And this is an important step that many people will ignore. I mean, you might get bored of repeating it and doing the same thing again. Or you might get disheartened when you don't see any improvement. But even on those bad days when you do a really rubbish job, you are still improving. Or at worst, working out how not to do something, which is just as important and also part of the process. Once you get to the point where you've mastered something and you're no longer having to think about the mechanics of it, this is when you can start owning it and using it to express your own style. And you all know that there's an element of work required to get good at something, and that's kind of what I'm describing here. If you want to get good at something in your art, then, scheduling in that time, focusing on it, putting in the practice, and repeating that practice, it's all work, and it doesn't matter if you're doing this as a job or if this is your hobby, it's still something that you need to do if you want to improve. So I suppose tip number 4 has to be make it enjoyable. It is going to be work, but you need to find that thing that will motivate you to get there and work and keep at it. Otherwise you'll stop practicing it and you'll stop doing it. And you'll still improve over time, but perhaps it will take you longer, or it won't be in the thing that you really want to get an improvement in. So whatever it is you need to put in place to inspire you to turn up for your scheduled time and put in that practice, find it and use it. And it could be something really simple, like I quite often, when I'm finding that I'm unfocused and I've got something I really need to do, I go and make myself a cup of tea, and it kind of stops me from procrastinating and makes me get on with stuff. And yeah, I do drink a lot of tea. But you kind of get my point. Whatever it is that you need, put that in place and make it easy on yourself. So maybe it's something like you need a theme to work to. Say you want to improve your lettering, for example. Maybe your motivation can be for lettering new sentiments, or maybe titles of your favourite films or your favourite books. So whatever it is, think about it and try and put that in place. Make it a practice that you really want to do. And this brings me on to tip number 5, which is about sharing. Don't feel that you have to share all of your practice. So that constant need to fill our social media feeds, it's pretty full on all the time. And obviously if you are enjoying sharing your practice, then do. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying don't feel you have to if you don't want to. Make it easy on yourself and don't add in any extra pressures that just don't need to be there, like making it really good so you can put it on Instagram. I hope these tips have helped. Let me know what it is that you're going to be working on and what you want to improve at the moment. Or if you've got some tips to help us improve our artwork, please do share those as well. So whatever art that is that you do, from card making to mixed media, I know I have quite a range of people watching my channel. If you are looking for more art inspiration and tips, then I have plenty of videos for you to watch and catch up with. So here's some suggestions. Enjoy your creative day and your practice, and I'll see you again on Wednesday with my next art video. Thanks for watching. Bye.